What's going on YouTube? It is Christian. Welcome back to the channel. How are you guys doing today? Let me know down in the comment section below. I'm coming to you guys a little bit later than I have been on the release, with a Survivor Season 47 Episode 8 recap, review, breakdown, all that good stuff combined into one. Sorry about the delay on it. This has been a week where I've been starting on a new job, and so because of that, it's kind of altered my schedule a bit. But we're getting to it now, and that's the important thing about it, right? I was also thinking, guys, no random thought. Just let me know how you guys feel about this. If anybody wants to leave a comment down below. I was thinking maybe by the end of the season, I'll have a buff to wear while I'm doing these reviews. So yeah, let's see here. We are on episode 8 of season 47. So of course, at the last episode, I felt like our girl Tiana was a little bit screwed on that. Not a little bit, a lot of bit screwed. I didn't like that at all. I thought once you're merged, you're merged. Everybody should make the jury at that point, but not Jeff. Jeff did not agree, so Tiana missed out on the jury. But the first person eliminated tonight, they will in fact be on the jury. Let's just recap who is left. We got from Gata, we got Andy's left, Rachel, Sierra, Sam, Tuku, or not Tuku, but from Tuku, Kyle, Sue, Gabe, Caroline, and then Lavo still has Teeny, Genevieve, and Saul that are represented in this merged tribe of Becca. The alliances that we do know about, we got Sam and Sierra. They are definitely a power duo. Andy, in parentheses, he's kind of there, their goat. That's how they see him. And then we got the Sue, Caroline, and Gabe. That's an obvious one as well. And then this one that's kind of budded as of recent, and since they've been on one camp together, is Genevieve with Andy. So, but now we get we break into this episode 8, leaving off of the heels of where episode 7 left us, and so that means that we're now seeing the point of view, the perspective where Rachel was walking back to camp after she played her safety without power, so she couldn't vote, but she got to go back to Becca camp. And so we're seeing her, she's like, it's weird. She's alone, but she's amazed, and she's curious about who gave her this advantage. Of course, us sitting at home, we know it was good old Saul. She's still trying to rack her brain and figure out who it might have been. So yeah, and after that, then the rest of the people start trickling in. And of course, Rachel figures out that Tiana didn't make it. And Gabe talks about in his confessional how Tribal didn't go the way that he wanted it to go, because he wanted Rachel out. I mean, Tiana and him, yes, they've had issues with one another. Just wanted him out for a while, and because of that, Gabe wants her out. But at the end of the day, it wasn't too far out of the lane for Gabe. But he did want Rachel out initially, so he just says that this didn't go according to plan for him. And then we get a confessional from our guy Saul, who just made the best move of episode 7, obviously, by giving Rachel that power and trying to acquire some people on his side of things. So we hear Saul, he talks about how nobody's really suspecting him of being the person that gave Rachel that advantage, and that's great for his game, because they're not necessarily seeing Saul as a super strategist at this point. They're just kind of seeing him as another guy. That's great for him. And I'll say this too, because I remember when this season first started, I was kind of like 2 episodes in, dude, I'd never see Saul talk. He doesn't talk at all. Who is this guy? I could barely remember his name, and now he's really kind of emerged as a top figure in the season, and I love that for him. Saul talks about creating his own brigade of people, the SSA, Saul's Secret Agents. So of course his first recruit on that list would be Rachel. So he does go up to Rachel after this past tribal, and he tells her, hey, look, you got to go back to camp without voting, without anything. And I just want to let you know it was me that gave you that advantage, and I wanted to work with you. And so that Rachel says, like, hey, this is great for me. I have somebody who wants to work with me. Let's go, So it seems like that little link right there, Rachel and Saul, that's something coming of it. Sam just goes over and tells Rachel, like, yeah, it did seem like you were going, so that was the right move to make. That was just kind of like a little brush with them. He was just kind of going over that, and it appears that the dynamics of the camp seem to be, especially after this past vote where Tuku was gonna stay strong, but then they kind of had to get rid of one of them, so they got rid of Tiana. What it seems like is that the war is between Gata and Tuku, because they have the most members left, obviously. Sam, Rachel, Sierra, Andy, and then on the Tuku side of things, Gabe, Kyle, Caroline, Sue. Yeah. Those 4v4, and then the 3 lurking in the middle is Genevieve, Saul, and Teeny. So this is the war right now, and let's see where these lines are drawn. We do come to a scene seeing of Saul and Kyle are talking, and they're Saul's cracking open a coconut. Kyle is vibing with Saul. So it seems like maybe this would be another secret agent of Saul that he would want to work with. And then that's just a little thing that we get there. We go over to Tree Mail, and Caroline's the one that reads it to us now. She reads it, and it turns out, as we saw in the coming attraction from last week, it is the Survivor Auction. Survivor Auction, not really matching its name. It's more of a Survivor buyer, because it's not, nobody's really like going up or anything. It's just first to buy it gets it. Who has the most money? That's what it's turned into. So let's see here. So, and for them to get into this auction and to be able to buy things, obviously they need money. And for them to get money, Survivor production team has hidden these little scrolls around the camp area, and it's their job to search for them and find as many as they can to put it in their own bucket. Some of these little capsule things, scrolls, have more money in it than others, and yeah, it's just about getting as many as you can, because that increases the odds that you have most money. So we have we have them running around. Andy doesn't get any. Sam gets very few, and Sierra ends up getting the most of all of these scrolls. So she has the most inside of her little basket there. They continue to collect it, but no, Andy still never finds it. He doesn't get any the entire time, which is kind of crazy to me. I was thinking about this, like, man, I know it's a social game, and I know that we're all playing for $1 million and everything, and it's strategic as well. But I was thinking, just from a human perspective, and I don't even necessarily like Andy that much. I'm not the biggest fan of his. But I'm like, dude, just give Andy one. Like, let him participate at least. I mean, we'll see a little bit later on that he's not going to be too upset about not having any money, but just give him a chance to buy one of the things, So we get to the Survivor auction, and Jeff does reveal that, there's only so many items that are gonna be revealed, and then once it's done, though, it's done. And the thing is, when it's done, whoever has the most money left, that's the person who will lose their vote at tribal council. So that's not a great place to be. All right, brief intermission there, but we are back at it, and this is the Survivor auction. So the first item comes out, and Saul ends up being the one who bidded on it, and it is chips and soda. Looks pretty good. Next thing comes on out, and Teeny buys it, and this ends up being mac and cheese. We've also got Sierra getting some chips, guac, salsa, and margarita. At this point, I'm thinking something's got to be bad coming here, but not yet. Kyle ends up purchasing what turns out to be chicken wings, which is a big moment, obviously, because Kyle, up to this point, he's told us he's vegetarian, has the vegetarian hot dogs, and he ultimately decides to break his vegetarianism for that moment and eats the chicken. It's kind of like, dude, you hate to see it, but I guess if he's okay with it, he's okay with it. So yeah, he gets the chicken wings. Then we do kind of get a bit of a bad one for Gabe. It was just a coconut with cold water, which is just like something they could probably have on the island, but it wasn't a bad one really. We get Saul, he buys something else. It's a pie for $60. Rachel at that point buys burger, fries, and a beer. And she notices while she buys this burger, fries, and beer that something that hasn't been done before. Instead of just like bidding on a clue, there was actually a clue inside of her fries. She's able to like stealthily take it out and put it away in her pocket. But first time we've seen that. We get Genevieve buys a bunch of pastries like cookies and little cupcake type things and everything. And then Jeff brings out this big platter. It's breakfast, but in order to eat this breakfast, you have to put up $200. So it's whoever left has $200. Ends up being like Sue, Sierra, Caroline, and Sam. And the first person out of them to eat 2 grubs, finish it completely, ends up getting the breakfast. Sam ends up being the first to finish, so he gets the breakfast platter. There's a burrito there. Sue gets it. We finally get a bad one when Caroline comes in and purchases some fish eyes. It was gross. Sierra buys some chocolate and peanut butter. We're getting, this has now been the end of the auction. There's no more items left. And the person that's left with the most money is Sam. So that means that Sam is going to lose his vote at this upcoming travel, which is big for him because obviously he's running the goddess side of things. And if him without a vote, that may sway things towards Tuku's favor since they're the group that they're at war with. We get a scene from Rachel talking about how she's trying to find an idol with the clue that she has. And then Sam and Sierra are talking over how they're worried about Sam not having a vote, and so they're trying to link up with Lavo to knock out Tuku. Teeny, Sierra, and Rachel at a point they get to discussing getting out Kyle if he doesn't win the next immunity, because obviously up to this point he's won both of the available immunities. Genevieve wants to work with Caroline and Sue to get out Rachel. Caroline and Genevieve are on the same page, and they think that Rachel is the sneaky, dangerous one. Caroline has this thing in her head canon, where she's claiming that Rachel is the most dangerous player in the game. But I don't necessarily see it that way, although she's built a little bit more of a reputation for herself up coming out of these last 2 episodes. But I didn't get that feeling at all. I guess, though, when you're on the island, it's a different type of feel than us watching at home for sure. There's a point that finally opens up where everybody kind of talking, and Rachel's able to get up for just a moment and read the clue, and she snags an idol and puts it away in her pocket. So now Rachel is armed with an immunity idol. She's the one with the idol. Right after getting that advantage from Saul, we get to immunity. Immunity is going to be up for grabs for 2 people. We have 1 woman able to win it and 1 man able to win it. It's one where they are holding a bucket that has like 25% of their weight or something like that from what they were when they started the competition, and they have to hold down, this like rope type of thing, keep it like pulled back, so that keeps the bucket suspended, and when they start to lose their grip and it goes down and eventually splatters, then they're out of the competition. So things go on and on and on. Sue ends up winning it for the woman. This is a big deal. This is the first time Sue's won. And I say you got to look out for this from Sue, because Sue has actually been really good at, in these challenges, and she just finally wins one. But she's always been like second, third. She's not too far off. The final two men are Andy and Kyle, and as good as Andy does, he does eventually drop, and so Kyle wins again. This is Kyle's third immunity victory in a row. All of them have been a little bit Mickey Mouse victories, though. They've been, he never wins a straight up immunity. He never wins it when everybody's competing at the same time. He's won it that first time where it was Mergatory episode, where the groups competed, and then the winning group got to compete against each other individually for immunity. And then he got it the second time when it was the losing group that gets to compete for individual immunity. And now he wins it when it's split up men versus women. I'd be interested to see, because honestly, there's a good case for Sue winning this overall. She could have beaten Kyle too, in my opinion. So yeah, but that is how it goes. Sue wins for the women, Kyle wins for the men. We get back to camp. We do hear some names floating around. Gabe emerges as a top vote from Sam. Sam wants Gabe out. He thinks that that's the person that they need to go after from Tuku, because he's the shot caller. We do get some time from Andy telling us how he feels out of the loop. He was obviously with Gata, but he doesn't really think that Sam and Sierra have his best interests. Like, he's just been an afterthought for him. He's right. And so at this point, he's telling that he's a free agent. He kind of is splitting off from them and trying to do his own thing. Sierra talks about how they still have a plan to bring Andy along with them. She's talking about this with Sam until they no longer need him. But funny enough, on the parallel side of that, Andy can feel it, and that's why Andy has said that he is a free agent. So to continue on with Andy does go and discuss with Caroline to take out Sam and Sierra, because he's not with them anymore. That's music to her ears. He starts talking to Tuku, and funny enough, even though this is to get out of the shadow of Sam and Sierra and to feel like he's valued, ultimately Tuku is just doing what Sam and Sierra are doing to him, just even more so, kind of, because he's even more expendable to them. They don't really need him at all. They plan to use him just the same way that Sam and Sierra were. Gabe, Genevieve, Saltini, and Caroline are on board to take out either Sierra or Sam. Teeny is one that is, kind of more set on it being Sam than Sierra. But there's, they kind of just, they hear her, but they don't really say, oh yeah, for sure, we'll do Sam. It's kind of just like brushed off to the side. And then again, Caroline and Genevieve, we revisit that. They actually want Rachel out, but it doesn't seem they have the numbers at this point. And Sal doesn't want Rachel gone, because that's his new ally. He took the time to stick his neck out there and give her that advantage. So he's seeing long-term potential with her. And so obviously he's going to try and protect that as much as he can. So going into Tribal, it does seem like Sam and Sierra are planning on Gabe being the vote. The rest of the tribe seems to be split on that Sierra-Sam thing, although we have heard the rumblings from Genevieve and Caroline about wanting Rachel out. Tribal council happens. There's a talk about war underway, obviously, because we're alluding to Tuku and Gata and Lavo caught in the middle, being in the mix there as well. Auction day, and then it does come up where Gabe says, yeah, we are kind of at war right now, but the thing about auction day was a bit of a ceasefire, where we kind of all just stopped for a moment and said, you know what, let's come together and have a little nice time, and then we're going to immediately go back to fighting each other again. He brought up some example, I believe it was like from one of the World Wars, but I can't remember it at this moment, so I'm just going to leave it at that. So we're getting to voting time, and Rachel comes in. she plays her shot in the dark. She doesn't give her immunity idol. She doesn't play that, but she does play her shot in the dark, which later, and I probably will put it on the screen here so you can see, I'll put it next to me. She does clarify to Fishback, who asked on Twitter. She clarifies and says, you know, I didn't know which way the vote was going, but I did want to get a feel on everything, and I wanted to not have to vote, because obviously shot in the dark takes away your vote when you use it. So she does play her shot in the dark, and the shot in the dark is not safe, so she is completely vulnerable at this point if they did put the vote on her. Luckily for her, it was not that way. Sam losing his vote didn't get to cast one at all. So Sierra being able to vote, she's the only vote on Gabe. All of the other votes are dead split in the middle, Sam and Sierra. And so in this case, we do a revote, because typically the way it would go is you would revote, but since Sam and Sierra was a tie, they cannot vote. So everybody gets to revote. It can only be for Sam and Sierra, but Sam and Sierra cannot vote. But in this case, it's different since Sam didn't vote the first time, so that means that it will be everybody gets to vote again except for Sam. So in the revote, Sierra is the only one to vote for Sam, and everybody else votes Sierra out. She's unhappy about this, obviously, but that is our first member of the jury. It is Sierra. There goes one of my strong runner-up picks. I did say that this was Gabe's path into the upper echelon tier, and some of the other dark horses that I had listed as well, it was to break up this pairing of Sam and Sierra, and it kept coming up all episode long that yes, while Tuku has shown strength in numbers and everything, that Gata overall seems to be the more charismatic tribe, and it seemed to be what ultimately played into this. They did want to get out one of the heads of the snake there, and they went after Sierra, leaving Sam by his lonesome. So it'll be interesting to see how Sam can kind of navigate and come back from this. This is definitely a big blow to him. Is he just the easy next vote? I guess we're gonna have to wait and see. This episode went really well for Rachel finding that idol, and from the clue, her being able to stake out the tribal and see where people's heads were lying, and seeing that nobody voted for her, while also not having to get involved in the vote herself. That was all great right there. So I think Saul had a pretty solid episode. I would say the worst episodes in this case were probably Kyle for winning another challenge. He just puts a bigger target on his back, and then Sam for losing his right hand person in this episode, and so that's where I'm at this point. If you guys liked my recap, my thoughts on this, of course leave a like on the video, comment down below what you thought, click the subscribe button with the bell next to it so you get updated every single time that I upload, and also just let me know what your thoughts were on this episode. I will see you guys in the next video. I hope you have a great day. Bye bye now.